Howdy y'all, and welcome to Lac Lives. I think it's time to play a little Minecraft. Alright, so today we're gonna talk about some animal stories. I told you I'd tell you the squirrel story, and then I realized I might have a couple of more stories to go yet. So I've been working on the room a little bit today, just a little bit. My brother-in-law and nephew were down here, so I was kind of waiting for them to get moving out so that I could record. Not that I haven't recorded with them in the room before, just, you know, it's kind of hard to keep a 4-year-old quiet for 30 minutes. And, oh, I have some quartz slabs, actually. What I need, though, is... Oh, man, I don't know if I have enough lapis for what I want to do. I know I don't have enough lapis for what I want to do. This is going to be expensive ceiling. I need some more of your wool, man. I need some more of your wool. Oh, let me show you this first, and then we'll go upstairs, and I'll tell you a couple animal stories. So I was trying to breed up my sheep, and I wanted more white sheep and more brown sheep. Somehow I accidentally clicked on a red sheep, and there's a little white, red hanky-panky, and now I've got a pink sheep. There are no rooms in this house that require pink wool. Yeah, my family doesn't really do pink so much. A lot of whites. A lot of browns. Occasional blue. But no pinks. Alright. Now. So, this room still is where we're at. And it had a dark blue ceiling, if I remember correctly. So when this room was remodeled, it was remodeled with the intention to be my bedroom. And so what I wanted, because we got to choose the colors. Well, I got to choose the colors. That's a lie. I was supposed to get to choose the colors. And that didn't really particularly happen. Instead, what happened was, you know what? This needs one block of white over top of it. Instead, what happens was I chose the colors I wanted, and instead we went with the colors my mother chose. So I was just going to paint it in black and white, and they decided that would be too dark. I was going to do black floor, white walls, white and black checkered ceiling tiles. That was my plan. And just simple. And so I don't understand what difference it makes. If nobody else is gonna look at it, who cares? Who cares? But so what we wound up with was Battleship Gray wood floor, and this. It wasn't quite the color of this cyan. It was a little darker blue than this, and then really dark blue ceiling tiles, which is why I'm going to put the lapis in there for the ceiling tiles. And then the walls were left white because I had it in my head that I was going to draw on the walls and then paint them with whatever, and which is why I wanted white walls. And instead, what I got was some peach off-white color and the the what's the stuff called? The stucco, the plaster, whatever that you put over the nail holes wasn't put down properly, so it just was lumpy. And so I never did get. I did start drawing on this wall, and it's probably still there. Well, I don't know. The new people that moved in after we moved out probably remodeled, but it may have gotten uh, it may have gotten painted over or something. But I had started drawing on this wall when I was in high school. I did an art class and did really really well, but it's not something that comes naturally to me. Um, I mean, that's not what other people that I know say, but it's not something that comes naturally to me, and if I don't practice it, I can't do it. And so I haven't practiced in years, and so my artistic ability is pretty nil. Like I might be able to whip out a quick Garfield or something, but um, nothing spectacular, that's for sure. Although when I was in high school, I did some really nice hands and a squirrel. I remember a squirrel once. And so I think that's a good segue into the squirrel story. I don't know why I'm just bouncing around here. Mostly because I don't have any more materials to do this in, and I'm going to have to go get some more like lapis. And I need more cyan wool to finish the... I need 2 more pieces there, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there, and 2 there. So I need 8 more pieces of cyan wool, and we'll be done with the walls in that room. But I'm going to jump down here and grab the cyan. Thank you. Thank you. That guy was there earlier. Oh, sheep, you're so noisy. I told my brother-in-law, I'm like, hey, check it out, and look familiar, and he's like, I don't remember the yard full of sheep. And then my 4-year-old nephew, of course, is like, I remember the sheep, and we're like, yeah, you were 6 months old when we moved. I don't think you remember sheep that didn't exist. No, I remember the sheep, he says. He doesn't remember the sheep. But so, not... No, it would have been the remodel that made it look like this, I think. And so when we remodeled the very first time, so like it would have been in junior high, I think, when we remodeled this room, late junior high. So I'd have probably been like 12 or 13, maybe 14. That'd have been the beginning of high school. Or no, I guess 14 would have been the end of junior high, beginning of high school. I don't know, somewhere in there anyways. And so we finally remodeled the room, took down the quilts, put up actual drywall and stuff. And so one of the things that these old houses like this, being that it's like 100 years old, they didn't have heating, right? So I talked about how we had registers and they didn't work half right, and you constantly have to be bleeding them because I don't think the pressure tank on the furnace was correct, and maybe the furnace was too small for the house. I don't know. But although the furnace at the house we're in now, in a house that's like twice as big as this one, is smaller than the furnace that was at this house, so I really don't know. Anyways, so what they had was they'd have a central heating location, and so because of the size of the house, they had two wood stoves apparently, And so, not that this room's done yet, but coming up from the kitchen, in the middle of this room was where one of the chimneys came up, and then there were vents in the floor that opened up to the room below, and that's how they got heat. The chimney would give off heat, and then the actual wood stove down below would give off heat, and then you just had these open vents to down below. And so, I really don't have a way to get into these rooms when I jump down out of there. I need to do something about that. Yeah, sheeps. And so, in this room would have been one of the wood stoves, and so the vent went up through the floor here into the room above, and so none of that was there when I grew up, right? Because it had been redone, and it was yep, my brain will kick in here in a second. Give me a second. And so they pulled out the wood stoves and they put in, boilers to heat, registers. And so that's what we had. We didn't have the pipes, but in the floor was still the gaps where I seriously feel like I just barely put down any of this wool, and an entire stack of brown wool just vanished on me. Oop. And so, so when we were remodeling, one of the things that happened down below was that, why can't I place, that was weird, they wouldn't let me place any wool there. And so down below, when we tore open the ceiling down below, no, I think we did that later. So okay, I remember how it went. So right here was the vent from down below, and so underneath in the room below, it was sealed ceiling. There was just ceiling tile there, right? And so, but from up here, this was a vent in the floor, and so while we were remodeling, we pulled out the vent and threw it away, and but they left the hole in the floor because they were going to cut a piece to put over it. And, well, that didn't happen. And so I had a board that was from the kitchen counters, not the new ones, but the old ones, because this is one of the first rooms to be remodeled. And actually, I think this would have been the first room to get remodeled, and then this one. And so we had this board from the old sink counter, or the kitchen counter where they cut out for the sink. And so I had that laid down over top of the hole, because it's a pretty big hole, and then my dresser sat on top of that. Well, then, of course, I don't know what it's like other people's houses, but to me it feels like anytime I go to use something, immediately people decide they need that particular thing. And so I had the kitchen counter board, and then they're like, we want to do puzzles, but we need something to put the puzzles on. You're not using that board, so we took that board out from underneath your dresser. I'm like, well, that was covering the hole that led into the floor. And they're like, well, nobody's going to go under the dresser. All right, so now there's a hole in my floor underneath my dresser. And so my bed was over here in this corner. And you got to figure there's like a register right here. And then my bed is right here. And then this was the attic. And so nobody ever really went in there. And so next to my bed, I had my TV. At that point, I had the old TV that was downstairs, the one that we didn't actually watch TV on, and it was hooked up to VCR and maybe a Nintendo. I don't remember if I had a Nintendo in my bedroom or not. I owned a Nintendo. I just don't remember if it was in my bedroom. But I had a VCR, and so And so, that was right next to my bed, and, we watched movies and stuff on it. I'm pretty sure it must have had Nintendo hooked up to it. Uh, Maybe an Atari. Maybe I had the Atari hooked up to it when I was a... Because we probably only had one Nintendo at that point. I think my stupid headset just turned off on me. Um, and so so I'm laying in bed one night, and uh-oh, I threw my potatoes out on the ground earlier because a creeper blew up my stuff. Stupid creeper. But so I cannot stay concentrated on this story for some reason today. So I'm laying in bed. It's at night. I'm asleep, and I hear scratching noises in the floor. Being an old house, it's not uncommon to hear scratching noises in the walls, and like really loud scratching noises. And so the I didn't think nothing of it because it's just whatever. And so I'm, sleeping, and scratching noises wake me up, and I'm just like, well, whatever. It's just stupid whatever's scratching in the floor, mice or whatever. I don't know, bats maybe. And well, then I hear it in the room, and I'm like, well, that's not good because it sounds big, whatever it is, bigger than a mouse for sure. And so I carefully, now it's cold, right? And so you know what? I can totally get the pieces I need out of here. It's cold, so I am draped under quilts, remember? And so I've got like, all right, now this might be a little weird, but we had these sleeping bags, and we actually just used them as covers. I don't know how weird that is, but that's what we did. And so yeah, I think that's pretty much the way this looked. Well, this didn't run up like this. This would have been white on this side, but it was painted the same color as the trim on the side, so I'm just gonna go with it like that. And so the sleeping bag material, of course, is what, poly something or another, I don't know, but it's smooth. And so I'm laying in bed, I hear the scritching noises, so I carefully get out of bed, and the only light in the room was a pull light. Well, it was a fan on the ceiling, and so I had to get out of bed to reach the pull chain to turn it on. And so that's what I did, and I turned it on, and I don't see anything, but I know whatever it is was in the room. But as soon as I turn on the light, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I heard it go back under the dresser and into the hole. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So then I go and climb back in bed, leave the light on for a little bit, and I finally get out, turn the light off, climb back in bed, go back to sleep. Well, then I wake up because I can feel it climbing on the covers. Right up on the covers where I'm asleep. So I'm laid on my back, and I can feel it climb on the covers, climb up across me, and sits down right on my chest. And just sitting there, whatever it is. And I don't know what it is because it's dark. And so I carefully slide my hand up across my stomach, really slowly, over across my stomach, toward my left side, and because I'm right-handed, and I slid it up slowly, ever so slowly, just hoping that thing doesn't get on my face, and it's just sitting there on my stomach, and so I get my hand up underneath of it and just slam it as hard as I can into the TV that's next to my bed. And then I jump up and I turn on the light, and it's a squirrel, and it went back down the hole. And that was the last time I ever saw it. But that was crazy. Talk about making your heart beat out of your chest. It was just in the house because it was winter. Came up through the hole, so I made sure to cover that hole over with something the next day. Probably that night, actually, before I went back to sleep, I covered over. And then there were a couple of nights where I could hear it scratching at the bottom of the whatever it is I put over top of the hole. I don't remember. I remember I had a board there, and they took the board, and that's how come it got in. And I had to get another board, maybe a couple of boards because of how big the hole was, which is pretty funny. Now, when I was a little older, I like 16, I could drive. I'm gonna start putting a floor in this next room, but I'm still gonna tell stories from this room because I still got a couple more. So when I was 16, I'm gonna have to go and make some more slabs here. I spent a couple of summers working in the sugar beet fields in the area, and so I was saving money to buy a computer, and um, I did that a couple of years to earn enough money because I think I got like $800 a year from that, which I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but we didn't get allowance or anything when I was a kid, and so you had to go do jobs like that for money. So I do like hay in the summer for farmers, um, and then like I said, one of my friends knew the farmers, and he had worked there the year before, and so he wanted to know if I wanted to come out with him and do hay, and so I said heck yeah, because I can get some save up for a computer. Because one of my other friends, he had a computer, and I'd go over to his house to use it all the time. And let me tell that story real quick. So I remember it was there's a reason for the computer, and so it's part of the animal story here. And so I remember one time I called my friend and I'm like, hey, I need to print off my paper. I forgot to print off my paper when I was at your house writing it on your computer, and he's like, yeah, sure, just let yourself in and um, and print it off real quick. And I'm like, all right. And so I had gone over to their house and used the key, let myself in, and was sitting at the computer printing off my paper. And his mother comes walking out, and she's like freaked out because first off, she didn't recognize me because well, she wasn't expecting me to be sitting in their living room. And I just remember it was really funny because she freaked out, and then I'm like, hey, your kid said I could come in and print off the paper, and she's like, oh, okay. Just wish somebody would let me know. Um, Anyways, so I didn't have my own computer, and I wanted to get one because we played a lot of video games on his dad's computer, is whose computer it was, and so I thought it'd be awesome to have my own computer to play video games on. Something's not right here with this. That's the wall. This would be the outside wall. What did I do to this room down here? I think I made this room down here too small. This is outside wall. No, that's inside wall. This is outside wall. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that down below. I didn't make the room big enough. That's all right. I can handle that. And so the anyway, so I worked a couple summers. I bought my own computer. Well, I didn't buy my own computer. My dad said that if I raised at least half of it, that he would pay the other half. And so I worked, doing hay, which is a horrible job. I worked hoeing sugar beet fields and soybean fields, which is a horrible job. And I guess it wasn't as bad though, because at least I got paid for that. Because when I did that kind of stuff for us, I didn't get paid at all. And I mean, that was you just worked on the farm. That's where you got your food from, and I guess that's how I got paid, was food. But and so I think we paid like $1,800 for the computer and $650 for a printer. And then he bought me a computer desk. My dad bought me a computer desk to go with it. And so it was over here in this corner. And this is the first time it's ever happened. But I'm sitting here at the computer, got the light, in the middle of the room on, and I don't remember what I was doing, but out of the corner of my eye, I see something, and so I thought it was a moth, and so I swatted my hand at it, and I hit it, and just a little bit, and I didn't think nothing of it. So I went back to whatever I was doing, and then I see it again, and I looked, and I saw it was bigger than a moth, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I went back because I thought it was a bird, and then it landed on the wall, and it was a bat. That's the first time I ever saw a bat in the house. It's not the last time I ever saw a bat in the house. They usually come in regularly. But man, that freaked me out. And so it's the ceilings in here were pretty low. This is actually taller than it probably should be. It should probably be just 3 high, not 4 high. But to get I don't know. I might just lower this room by 1. Actually, I think I probably will lower it by 1. This is just too high for this room. And so it didn't have a lot of room to fly, and then there's a fan in the middle of the room, and so it gets pretty low, like eye level, flying back and forth. We finally got out of the house. It wasn't a big deal. But that was the start of it. And then what had happened was a bat colony had gotten in, and they were like in the wall here in this part of the house, because a board had fallen out next to the chimney, which ran up right here. And so they had gotten in the walls there, and so what was happening was they would climb through the walls, and they would get out, and so they were in the attic, which nobody ever went in, but they'd squeezed past the door to get into this room, I guess. And so it happened like, let's say 10 or 15 times ever that bats got actually in the house, well, probably like 10 or 15 times that they got in this part of the house. Now, when I was in here, they used to get in here all the time. It'd be like every other day I'd have to get out of bed and catch a bat and kick it out of the house. But so we're sitting. My friends are over, and we're having what we call the movie night. I used to get pizza and movies every week, and then my friends would show up, and even if they weren't going to show up, I was still going to be getting pizza and movies. That was my thing every week. Tuesdays is when the new movies came out. I would swing by I would reserve the new movies for the week on Monday, and then on Tuesday I would come and pick them up from the movie rental store, and I'd grab a pizza, and that became something I did every week. It was my movie night. The new releases, the pizza, and then my friends would come over sometimes, and so we're all over watching movies. And I had like a couch up here. This is before my sister and her husband moved in. So I had like a couch over here, and the TV was over here, and some my recliner was over here, my computer stuff, whatnot. And so actually I think my computer would have been in my bedroom. So just chairs and TVs and stuff in here. And so we're watching movies, and maybe that was later. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that wasn't a movie night. Maybe that was the other group of guys. I think we were doing okay. I got my groups of guys confused. I have a group of guys who would watch movies, and then I have a group of guys who'd play computer games. We were playing computer games is what we were doing, and so there was like there was me, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 guys, and we had TV. TV was on. We were watching TV. We had pizza, but we were playing Fear multiplayer and maybe some Call of Duty multiplayer. And so Bat, this was after I had cut the hole in the wall to run new wiring for like the air conditioner and all the electronics that I had in this room, and also getting ready for remodeling the whole room. And so that wall had a opening in it, and so this bat comes up and climbs up the side of the wall, and I see it, but I don't say anything because it's just a bat. And so they're sitting there playing, and I see it, and it's looking around, and it's moving its wings, and I'm like, oh yeah, you guys might want to keep your head low. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I think that bat's about to jump off the wall, and you should have seen them. They're like, bat, and I swear 3 of them tried to get out the door at the same time. They were more city-type people. One of the guys was from a farm, so he's just like, whatever. And so, I grabbed the box and went over to the wall and scooped him into the box and took him out. It wasn't a big deal. But man, those 3 guys are all pushing, trying to get through the door before the bat comes. And then they shut the door, and they wouldn't open the door. I'm trying to get the door open. I'm like, dude, I've got him in a box. Is he trapped? Is he not going to be able to get out? I'm like, yeah, we got him. I got to let him out of the house, though, or else I'm just going to let him go again. You guys can go home. So they finally let me out so I could get rid of the bat. It was funny. It was very funny. Well, I think that's all we're gonna do today. That's pretty much all my animal stories for this room. I got at least one animal story from this room to tell yet. But we'll save that for when I talk about this room next time. I actually had gotten a bunch of wood to start on this room because I didn't think it would take me this long to tell a story about bats and stuff, but apparently it did. I'm not sure if I'm going to go with the oak wood or if I'm going to go with jungle wood in this room. I think oak is more the color it was, and then. But that's something I'll get to next time. This was after I graduated from high school. This was my bedroom. Ooh, now that I'm up here, I can get up here and get rid of this stupid jungle tree that's been plaguing me with its stupid vines for the last who knows how long. Yeah. New place does not have animal issues like that, so that is definitely a plus. I did not enjoy it, because you know what? It's like everything else. If you had to be up early for some reason, that's when the bat wants to come out. And I don't know about you, but I can't sleep with a bat in my room. Actually, I have another bat story for in here too, I guess. Beyond the fact that they lived in the wall. Yeah, I'm gonna tear this whole top row off of this room and bring the ceiling down, because this is. Well, you know what? Yeah, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm just going to bring this down one. I should probably bring this room down one, too. This seems way too tall. So that'll cut down on my need of quartz, too, a little bit. But, alright. I hope you enjoyed those animal stories. Click like if you like. Subscribe, be sure and catch the next one. And I will talk to you later.